This is the outside of the museum. I did not get a personal picture, but I wanted to formally present the beauty of this building and how unique it is in its development. Here we have a collage representing a timeline of African Americans and their progression over their years. Students will have learned about the culture and key contributing figures to the African American culture. By seeing such images in person, students are able to satisfy sensory learning and development. When students approach this monument, they will have the opportunity to be read to, about a historical era in American history and relevance to African American culture. SS1H2. This monument attributes to the culture of African Americans and how through dance, one can express their emotions. Students will be able to learn about historical dances and movements that mean more than just rhythm and beats. SS1G1. Again we have here a view of history in a timeline, which can be explained to students. By seeing this timeline, students are able to create imagery and how events in history may have lead up to post-occurring events. Another important addition to our trip as students will have the opportunity to learn about an important era in not just American history, but African American history as well. By learning about sugar and trading and the connection between slavery, labor, and the economy, students are able to develop an understanding behind the logic of the overall trade. SS1E1. Students will be able to see the routes of slave ships and can locate their present home nation to discover its role in the routes of trade. Students will be able to see how relevant slavery was to the history of the culture of their community. SS1G2, SS1G3. Here we have a more in-depth diagram of the slave trade and routes in relation to slavery in history. SS1G2, SS1G3. Harriet Tubman is a historical figure that has much fame for her bravery and the change she brought to a nation with her own courage. Students will be able to learn about this brave African American woman and how she led others along a journey to freedom. SS1H1. Students will have the opportunity to learn about such a powerful man and abolitionist that had respectably contributed much to American history. SS1H1. Here, we have another map of our nation. Students will be able to see the changes in history as far as slavery and how the nation became divided as freedom became more often sought. Students can find their home state to see where they stood in history during this era. SS1G2. Prior to this field trip, students would have learned and understood much about Frederick Douglass. As students continue to see him throughout the museum, they will be able to confirm their understandings. Here we have a tribute to him and Abraham Lincoln, which are two historical figures that played a key role in the development of American culture. SS1H1. Students will be able to learn about a strong African American woman that contributed much to the cosmetology culture today. Students will have read prior about her goods and role in society during her own era. SS1H1, SS1E1, SS1E3. In American culture, there was an economical snag that made an unfortunate pit for everyone. Students will be able to learn about these harsh times and how the economy took a toll during this time. SS1E2. Students will be able to learn about another woman in history that took a stand by sitting. This woman took courage to go against unjust laws. By doing this she made a huge difference in history. SS1H1. Voting in African American culture was something that was earned later on. Students will be able to tie their current knowledge about elections and the presidency with the importance this time in history made. SS1CG2. Dr. Martin Luther King has made such impact to American history and culture. He not only was a great leader, but he had lots of respect for others. SS1H1, SS1CG1. Another strong woman in American culture that broke barriers in American television and media. Students will get to learn about how her debut in talk time television turned her into a role model. Last, but certainly not least, students will be able to learn about the nation's first African American president and how his presidency represented change in a nation that denied such opportunities for African Americans. SS1H1, SS1CG2,